up and good morning. Whether you just now rolling out of bed, getting ready for work, your kids woke you up early, maybe you just up smoking your morning blunt. This podcast is for you, my pre-sunrise crew. It's your girl Nay, and I am up with you. Y'all, I'm feeling good this morning. If you are listening to this episode today, it is November the 9th. It is episode 8, and this is the first episode that I recorded the same morning that I posted it. So you are listening in to damn near live feed today. So kudos to you for tuning in. Thank you for showing up today. We're going to start with the joke of the day. Y'all know I never looked them up prior to. Okay. What did Cinderella do when she got to the ball? She gagged. Say that's not fucking hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay, let's get into the topic of the day, which today it is when to let go. Specifically with romantic relationships, platonic and friend relationships, and also family relationships with your family. When to let go. I think there's a specific order. Like if you notice there's a certain level of toxicity in your life or you're just not flowing, and you just think you need to do some deep cleaning with yourself and with the people around you. I do think there's an order in which you should look at the people in your life that'll make it easier to go through that process as well. And this is from personal experience, y'all, that I'm coming up with this order. I ain't Google no shit and put this on my ass. I mean it, like, for real. So the first thing I believe is to look at your relationships. Now, I feel like those need to be looked at and figured out first because they have the biggest impact to you. I feel like whatever trauma that you may have had or experienced with your family is most likely already done. It's probably already there. And you can definitely get to that point too, but it's going to be difficult to try and eliminate family and friends when you know you're in a relationship that's also bad for you. That's usually the reason why you end up like going back and forth, kind of always falling out with people and then going back to them and stuff, because it's a different type of attachment that you have to family and friends, and being in a bad relationship can really deplete a lot of energy. It can drain that energy inside of you, your self-worth, your self-love. But your friends and your family, sometimes no matter how toxic, will always have like a certain level of love or a different type. They look at you different. Like it's always a different type of energy with them, and you may need that to a certain extent to get through whatever relationship you may be going through that's weighing you down. That's got you looking at it like, hey, something needs to give. But relationships should go first because they do have the biggest impact. You usually living with them in today's time in 2022. Most people don't date from afar or in their own places anymore. Everybody's shacking up, it seems like, really quick. But yeah, so they around you every day. They're impacting how you live, what you living for, how you move, how you think about yourself, whether or not how you thinking about your future. You know what I mean? It's completely different when you're in a bad relationship versus being out of one. You can have bad relationships with your family and friends and still picture a good future for you. Sometimes it's difficult to really plan for yourself when you are sometimes considering someone that you kind of don't even want to be there in the future. So relationships should go first. That's the first thing that you should look at. If you're not in a position to completely leave once you notice that it's not for you, then, and it's not like a physical thing, if it's not like physically abusive, if it's not like if it's not mentally abusive or just, like really beating you up, if it's just not for you, then I would say more so self-reflect and why you're in that specific situation, why God has you there. What are you supposed to be learning from this journey? Have you learned it? What steps can you take to get to where you need to be? And are you able to do that in a respectful manner? If not, then keep it to yourself and plan accordingly. But relationships can be really tricky, and that's exactly why I say that's the very first thing you should look at when you are determining, like, who needs to leave my space? My space was crowded. Somebody needs to leave my space, my mental space, my energy space. Excuse me. So in those, circumstances, you got to release what you have no control over, and ask God for clarity on like what you need to know and where you should be and stuff. And if you in tune, then that's all you really need to do right then and there. Um, then the next would be friends, of course. And again, because of that whole connection thing that I was explaining earlier between family and friends, when you're going through this process of elimination, like it has to make sense to you. So first, it's not gonna make sense to get rid of family or friends and still hold on to like a bad relationship. Sometimes it do happen. People do that. Those are people who in stuff real deep. Those are usually the real physical abusive relationships. When it's on that level. But usually, when it's not for you, but it's not to like that level of toxic. Usually, it's difficult to let go of friends and family, even if they're toxic, if you know that your partner is toxic. That's usually the reason you hold on to those other people as well. So your friends would be next once you get rid of that bad relationship. And it's usually easier to see that in your friends. For one, you've built some type of confidence after leaving someone you looked at as a potential partner, life partner. That's another level of confidence and respect you've gained for yourself. You do feel better about yourself when you make decisions that are best for you, like you truly do. So it'll be easier to look at your friends like, you may be showing this exact same thing, but in a completely different way. Because I'm not dating you, but you still may be showing that exact same thing, just in a completely different way. 9 times out of 10, what you accept in one area of your life is what you're accepting in all of the areas of your life. So a lot of the toxic traits or the traits you just don't like that are in somebody you messing with or somebody you don't want to mess with no more, they're usually in your friends too. And they're most likely with your family as well, like almost 110%. Like it usually starts there, and then you start to accept different versions of it as you go, like through your life. So friends will be next. Friends are big influences on your life as well. They usually don't control too much of how you plan for yourself going forward as far as long term. But as far as like daily things and then who you share and exchange energy with, that can be a great influence to how you feel and how you're going every day, like on a smaller scale. Um, they usually again reflect those negative and trauma attachments, and it's much clearer once the bad relationships are out of the way. You got to be aware of like frenemies. Those usually pop out to you once you start to clear your space. The friends that seem like friends, but they really like enemies. Like you always feel some type of bad energy around them, or some type of jealous energy, or some just type of downing energy around them. Especially people who have given you different energy before. Okay, if I talk to you about something multiple times before, or just multiple different things, if we've just exchanged words on different occasions and you've given me amazing energy, and all of a sudden for no reason you're not giving good energy consistently, that's weird. That's mad weird. I'm the type to speak on a lot, but it really depends on where I am. I am a very big verbal person, but I'm also starting to be very reflective and knowing what I'm getting from people too. So now for me, where I am in my position right now in life, I know 110% not only what the people around me get from me, but what I'm getting from them too. And if I'm not prepared to fully cut that off, like maybe I use you for energy, maybe I keep you at bay, and then when I need energy, I call you, because I know those few times that we're going to talk are going to be better. You know what I mean? Because you have to hold on to it in some type of way, shape, or form. So I know you'll give me that energy then, or something like that. It's very, very selfish, and I'm being real, like, honest right now. But I know what I get from people, and I know what they get from me, 110%. You got to be aware of people who are energy vampires, or people around you who just don't have the same values as you. Like, you could love the fuck out of somebody, and then as you're growing, it may hit you like, dang, I really don't like who they are as a person. Like, I don't like how they think. I don't like how they take accountability. Like, I don't think they would be able to uplift me the way I would need to be uplifted and supported as a friend, because of the values that they have or the way they think and go about their life. It's crazy because I was talking to Dom, my friend Dom, and she told me to send her more stuff on being intentional. And I sent her a few things just on energy in general, or just being in tune with yourself, because that's where being intentional starts, is knowing you, knowing what you don't want around you. But being intentional comes with responsibility. Are you going to cut off the people that's necessary for you to cut off once you realize that they're not for you? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to put yourself in a position to no longer be able to be used and drained or surrounded by negative energy exchanges? Like, that's a lot of responsibility. So this is part of being intentional. I'm actually going to send her this today. But it's a big part of being intentional is recognizing that, and then you have to do something about it, even if it's withdrawing yourself a bit. You don't always have to make a statement, and I'm gonna get more into that in a minute. But just in general, be aware of people who are just blood energy vampires. To blood but energy vampires, people who act like they are friends and they not. People, and maybe they're just not in a position to give that right now. They haven't built that for them. That's okay, but you gotta be real honest about what you need. If they can't get that right now, then they're not the friend for you, and it don't mean that they're a bad friend. It means what you need right now, they're not able to give. Oh, Dominique actually sent me something this morning too that actually went along with this. So she sent me a repost that was reposted by the Spiritual World Instagram page, and the looks like Twitter account that tweeted this is at sign my beauty underscore. So it said, I want black women to get comfortable with telling people you're not doing enough for me. And I want more than you are capable or willing to provide. More times than not, people come into our lives and leave with more than what they had, and we're left with nothing. That's dead. Too often, black women get the short end of the sticks, and too often, we're bullied into being satisfied with that. They tell us the shit like, you're doing too much, stop rushing, your expectations are too high, you gotta see the potential. No, the fuck we don't. I want black women to live a life that doesn't require a person to break us down to our smallest selves before realizing the magic that is right in front of them. This goes for all relationships: platonic, romantic, work, family, and community. I want black women to remove waiting out of our obligations. Let's stop waiting for our brilliance to be noticed. Stop waiting on someone to realize our worth, or waiting on someone to get their life together in order to be what we need. Black women are not the world's superhuman. We're not responsible for the adults around us. We don't have to stay anywhere that isn't serving us in the individual ways that we need for any extended time. Black women don't hear often enough. You are allowed to walk away from anyone, anything, or any space at any time. And anyone who tries to persuade you to stay somewhere that is not healthy, safe is a waste of time. Ain't really for you. Go enjoy your Friday onward. Okay, now say that's not a fucking word. Say that's not a word. We gotta be just fucking love ourselves enough and more and confident enough to say, like, no, it's not for me. I'm sorry, it's just not working for me. I have nothing against you at all, but this is how you are being, and this is how it makes me feel, and it's not working for me. And even if you're not able to have the whole breakdown, don't have it. You don't have to explain shit to nobody. You really don't. So after determining friends, family is definitely next. Okay, and you may even get your friends down to the best two. Okay, and once you start working on your family, getting rid of those family members that you holding on to that's not serving you well at all. Okay, the ones that you just maybe think you can save, or think that you being in their life is making it better or something, but them being in your life is bringing you down. Okay, it's giving you long nights, early mornings. It's overstressing you. You giving more energy than you have to give. Once you start figuring out those, you also start to realize, like, damn, maybe my two friends, maybe my four friends, I don't know, maybe the ones that I thought I could keep, they kind of resemble this too. I'm telling you, usually what you accepted in one area of your life, you're accepted in multiple areas of your life. Once you get down to the family part, it's going to be the easiest. You've built so much strength with getting out of those bad relationships, with getting out of those bad friendships that weren't for you. Once you realize that once you realize what the relationship is, what it represents, then that trauma attachment, that idea of, oh my God, I can't, goes away, because you start to see things for what it is. And with families, is for some reason it gets easier once you do it in this order. It'll just happen. Like, we're not for each other. And probably because it will hurt more. It's easier because I do think it's a lot more emotions. And once you done been through the bad relationships, once you done got rid of the friends, and these are the replacements that you've built in your life to replace the broken family. You know what I mean? Once you get through that, you're not going to put yourself to too much pain. You're going to recognize it and you're going to move on because you've determined what's the best ways for you to move on with stuff like that. And once you see that, like, oh, we don't have this crazy bond that I thought we had. You don't love me the same that I love you. Like, I'm going to get a little personal here, but with me personally, me and my sister, I only grew up with one sister, but we had a fairly good relationship over the years. You know what I mean? Some things have happened that have tore us apart. And for a while, I just did not want to accept the fact that we could not be close. I didn't want to accept it. But when I had to really self-reflect one day, like, my sister can't tell me I love you back. Like, I say I love you to my sister, and she has a hard time saying just I love you back. You know, and stuff like that, even having conversations about it. And she's my big sister of like 8 years. So it's like, do I want to continue to keep having these conversations? Probably not. I'm probably gonna just move on from here. I still wish the best energy and send love, but you got to recognize what relationships are not feeding you back the way you're feeding them. Like, I have a certain amount of love. Like, my love is crazy, okay? And I don't want to limit it in no type of way, shape, or form. So I just make sure that the people around me are genuine, loving people as well. And if they're not, I do my best to remove them from my life because I don't want to downplay myself. I don't want to half step myself. I don't ever want to not be giving my all. So I make sure I'm in environments where I want to give my all. You know what I mean? Like, unapologetically. And I feel like everybody should do that for themselves. But with all of these, whether it's platonic, romantic, family, it doesn't have to be a one and done thing. Like, you don't have to pressure yourself to cut anybody off at any specific point in time, or even if when you notice that they do bring you a lot of pain and they do drain you. You don't have to be like, oh, this is the moment I'm going to let them know. Like, it doesn't have to be specifically like that. That's a lot of pressure and energy. And one thing you have to make sure that you're doing is keeping positive energy. That's just one of the number one things you have to do, is to make sure that you are putting the positive output out in this life. That's what God designed you for. You know, that's the power of our energy. Negative energy carries so much negative weight, you know, and positive energy is so strong that one positive thought can overcome any negative thoughts. So it's extremely important to be positive. Once you notice positive about the entire thing, like, once you notice it, you don't have to be oh yeah, F them. You know what I mean? Even if it starts to seem like that, hey, as long as that's not your intention, that's fine. You know what I mean? You don't have to be vengeful or hateful. We ourselves have not been the best person to other people at some point in time. So I think remembering that keeps you humble throughout your experience. It's not about them. They have their own journey to go through. It's about what's best for you. You know what I mean? And once you think about it like that, it's not like oh, fuck everybody type of thing. It's oh, this is just not what's best for me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna walk away. Just take some of that pressure off of yourself. Distance yourself as needed, and that'll cut off a lot of the pressure too. That'll remind you of how much power you do have over yourself, over your energy, and everything does not have to be said. You know what I mean? You have the power to walk away, to stay to yourself, to fill your time up with other things. I truly believe that anything that's forced, if it's forced, it's not the right timing for it. And that's just with anything. I feel like trying hard, yeah, taking risks, fine, but forced is something completely different. Just allow things to move as God sees fit. You know, I say trust the energy and the flow of time. Take the pressure off of you. Just be you. Say to yourself as needed. Don't respond to people as needed. Preserve some of that energy. Keep some to yourself if you need to. Just notice what you need by staying with yourself. Spend time with yourself so you know what you need. One thing that I can say, and this is one of my longer episodes too, one thing that I can say is that when it's time to cut ties with any of the relationships that aren't working in your life, you know when you start to notice it's not benefiting you. Like when your body is telling you that you're uncomfortable. If you feel a certain type of way when you're around certain people, whether you want to acknowledge it to anybody else or not, I'm talking about what you know with yourself. If you feel any type of way on the inside when you're around a certain group of people, intimidated, fearful, uneasy, whatever it is, like you can't be around those people. You need to spend some time with yourself. You know what I mean? Like you just need to withdraw, self-reflect, and move forward. Especially your energy, your intuition is everything. You got to listen to it. As you, like I said, I know what I bring to people. I know what I get from people. Everything in your life has to benefit you, and you should also want to benefit everything in your life. You should want to bring something to the table to every encounter that you have. Just period. You don't have to make a statement when you do decide to leave bad situations. A lot of times that's just negative energy, and how you feel may change, although what you did may have been what's best for you. Like you may have done what was best for you in that time, and how you feel about it may change over time, even if that was the good decision for you. That's just reality in life. You grow and you think things different. You can't take back words, okay? And yeah, people can forget what you say, but you know what they say. They'll never forget how you made them feel. And a lot of the times they won't forget what you say. A lot of us hold on to comments that like crushed us at some point in time. I know I personally have done that before. I was just talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday. You don't always have to make a statement when you leave. You don't need nobody to agree with you, to understand you and your perspective. Do you understand you? Do you trust you? Do you trust how you feel? And that's all that matters in any situation. Like you don't always have to explain yourself. You need to move for you, and not being able to explain yourself. Once you are in a, because there's a lot of people out here that don't know how to talk. I'm speaking to the people that do. Once you're in a position, and you are able to converse, and you know that you're being open-minded and you're trying. If you don't feel comfortable enough to discuss it anymore, or to bring it up, or if it's something in your body just making you uneasy to have those type of conversations, I say don't. Trust your energy. Like I said, that's discernment. That's your intuition. Like, trust it. Don't have those conversations. Have those with you. Trust you. You don't need anybody to agree with you. You need to agree with you for you to be happy. That's the biggest thing that causes depression, I feel like, is us not keeping agreements with ourselves, us not taking care of ourselves. Like when you break a promise to you, when you're doing stuff to yourself, that's one of the worst pains ever, So I say just be mindful of you and your energy. You don't have to say too much, give out too much. You don't need anybody to agree or understand you. Self-reflect, determine what's best for you, and move fucking accordingly, period. It's about you understanding yourself at the end of the day, But that's I'm gonna leave that there because, like I said, this is one of my longest episodes. That's how y'all know. I could talk all day about this. I'm not gonna lie. So it's time for the inspirational quote of the day. Let me grab it. Okay, y'all, this is the jar. I'm gonna post a picture of the jar today. I made this at home. It's not completely finished, yo, but I'm very proud of it. Okay. It's actually were practice bottles. I'll post a few of them for my Nani juice that I want to drop. And it's all like vegan drink. It's like a urinary flush. Not for like infections or nothing, but just like a flush. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So I got one out, y'all. Okay, the inspirational quote of the day says, "Let your hopes shape your future." And I love this. Okay, everything that you like, oh, I hope. Don't just say that and don't believe it. Okay, believe it. Plan for it. Put it in your face. Start your manifestation. Believe in yourself. Okay, let your hope shape your future. Let your future move towards everything that you hope to happen. I love this. Okay. Well, that's about it for today. I love y'all.